Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us for week 2 of our community group series, The Path. I'm so excited that I get to bring you today this lesson here. But last week, we started this series called The Path, in which we said that there is an unbreakable principle in the universe that if you try to break, it will break you. And it's the principle of the path, which says your direction determines your destination. And you see, we went a little further and said it really doesn't matter what you hoped would happen for you or what you wanted to have happen to you. Your direction, not your intention, determines your destination. It doesn't matter how smart, good-looking, or rich you are. If you get on the 5 going north, you will eventually end up in Canada. So that principle, it isn't rocket science. It isn't brain surgery. We all know this when it comes to geography. But for some reason, when it comes to other areas of our life, like relationships, finances, morality, eating habits, exercise, and developing skills that make us more competent and valuable, we often walk one way and hope to wind up somewhere in the other direction. You see, your direction, again, not your intention, not your hopes, not your dreams, determines your destination. This is the hinge on which everything we're going to learn today swings. You see, we'll build on this in just a few minutes, but before we go there, I want to show you some things about the Bible and specifically about the book of Proverbs, which is the basis of our study so you can learn to navigate it on your own. Okay, so open a Bible and turn to the table of contents. Right there in the beginning lists all of the books of the Bible. So you see the first 17 books of the Old Testament there. Those are the historical books. They tell the history of the people of Israel and God's preparation for the coming of his son. So now you're going to look at the next 5 books there. And those are the poetical books. They teach us the wisdom of Israel. Job, he answered the question, why is there so much pain in this life? And how do I deal with it? Psalms points heavenward and teaches us how to walk with God. Proverbs is aimed earthward and teaches us how to walk with people. Ecclesiastes is on the nature of life, and Song of Solomon is an ode to romantic love. But now, turn to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 2. And we see here that Solomon, the primary author of Proverbs, tells us that Proverbs was written, and here in verse 2, he starts here, for attaining wisdom and discipline, for understanding words of insight, for inquiring a disciplined and prudent life, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to the simple, knowledge, and discretion to the young. Man, who doesn't want that? God superintended the composition of this book that we call Proverbs so that we could become wise, so that we could know how to live life well to its fullest and to its best. In this section, which is known as the prologue to the book of Proverbs, a word appears twice that we don't use very often, but it's a great word because if you can master the skill it implies, your life will work much better. The word is prudent, or its adjectival form, prudence. You see, to be prudent means to know what to do, to exercise good judgment, or having common sense. So I'm going to simplify it here. Prudent equals knowing what to do, exercising good judgment, and having common sense. We don't use this word very much, but the book of Proverbs uses it a lot. In fact, Solomon compares and contrasts prudent people with a second kind of people, simple people. It's the contrast. Whatever you are, you don't want to be a simple person. Now, I'm saying this as not in here of saying, because there are simple people. We always look at, they're a simple person or simple people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this is a comparison in biblically of what is being compared here in the book of Proverbs of being prudent, having knowledge, knowing, and common sense, and a simple person who just doesn't look at that, who doesn't strive after that knowledge, after what the book of Proverbs is talking here. So some people learn by verbal instruction. A friend points out something that they're doing wrong and they learn from it. Other people, we're going to say here what the book of Proverbs refers to as simple people. They have to be whipped or beaten to learn a lesson. There's some of us that are like that. But in another place in Proverbs, Solomon says, a fool shows his annoyance at once, but a prudent man overlooks an insult. Simple people, they let their emotions get the best of them. You see, they get mad and go into a rage. They spout off and complain when things don't go their way. But prudent people, man, they know how to control themselves and take things in stride. A simple man believes anything. A simple man believes anything. But a prudent man gives thought to his steps. It's in Proverbs 14:15 there. Simple people get fooled easily. Prudent people, they use their brains. Can you imagine if we mastered this prudence, if we mastered this, life would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? I got one more for you here. Proverbs 22:3, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Now look at this. Another verse here, Proverbs 27:12, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Now, hang on. I got to pause here for a second because you're saying, wait, didn't you just read the exact same verse twice? Well, technically I didn't, because in the Bible, it's two separate verses. But it's the exact same proverb, just recorded in two separate places. Now you would ask the question, why would God do that? Why would this proverb be recorded twice? I personally don't know. I can't tell you that. But here's just what I think. I think God puts proverbs in the Bible to make us smarter at living life. God put this proverb in the Bible twice because he thinks it's doubly important that we learn its lesson. Simple people need to be flogged to learn lessons, while prudent people, they just need a word. All right, here's where the serious learning begins, though. Here we go. Let's get ready here. Let's get ready. If last week we learned that our path is of paramount importance, then the logical question is, how do you choose the right path? How do you figure out what path you should be on? Or here we go. In some cases, how do you figure out what path to get off of? That's a big one right there. The proverb is telling us the primary difference between the prudent and the simple is not what they see. It's not what they see, but it's how they respond to what they see. The prudent see danger, take refuge. The simple see danger, and they keep going. Both of them see the same thing. They see danger. One responds by changing course. The other, the simple, keeps going and hopes that the danger will never arrive. It's like the ostrich who buries his head in the sand. That saying of, if I can't see it, it can't see me. If I ignore what I know is out there, it can't hurt me. You can see why Solomon calls people like this simple. Okay, so how do you choose? Okay, now let's get into it. How do you choose the right path? So number one here, the prudent, they make course corrections. If you've ever been swimming anywhere, let's picture this. Let's say in this instance, in the ocean, you're swimming towards something. Think of it as a buoy out there in the ocean, off the shore. You're out there and you close your eyes and, put your head down in the water and give yourself 10 to 20, 15 good strokes that you can do. And then you stop for a second and you look up to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. Because there is nothing worse than making an effort to just go in the wrong direction. Am I right? But here's the thing. You may also look over and see someone else swimming like they're about 20 yards off course. And you think to yourself, that guy is not prudent. He's simple. because he's not making course corrections as he goes. Now, it's a little more complicated than that in life, right? But part of choosing the right path is getting off of the wrong path. Saying to yourself, this behavior, this habit, this relationship, this, you name it, you fill in the blank, is leading me somewhere that's going to hurt. So I'm going to get off this path and get on a better one. You see, unlike the prudent, and then here's number 2, the simple keep right on going. When a prudent person senses that a relationship is moving in an unhealthy direction, they do something. The simple, they keep going. When a prudent person sees trouble on their financial horizon, they do something. The simple, they keep going. When a prudent person realizes that God is the most important person in the universe and their relationship with him isn't growing, they do something about it. The simple, though, they keep doing whatever they are doing that took their time away from God. Just so we're clear, the second half of the proverb, though, says the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Okay, the penalty for what? For refusing to act on what they see? They pay the penalty because they see no connection between the choices of today and the experiences of tomorrow. They overlook the fact that every path has a destination. Here's the really sad part about not making course corrections. Not only does the simple person himself pay a penalty, but often a lot of people around him pay a penalty too. His wife, his children, his coworkers. The following scenario describes how the simple react to problems. Okay, let's role play here. We're gonna role play. I might do some different voices. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh, you know that's probably going to be a problem. I really ought to. Well, are you gonna do something about it? No, I'm just probably gonna keep going. But don't you see? Don't you see the problem with that? Yeah, I see it. And I should do, you're right, I should do something about it. I should. Well, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. I'm just gonna keep going. And that right there is just one of the instances. That, yeah, the person you're saying, you're sitting here in that exact circumstance, you know that it's not right, you know of what you need to change and that you should probably stop. But we just keep going at times. And we forget about, hey, I need to stop, I need to make a course correction. You see, the simple thinks, I'm going to drive toward the wall, but when I get there, I won't hit the wall. And you may say, what? Excuse me? Yeah, and we just may, at times, the simple, we just say, I'm gonna keep going, and when I get there, it's just gonna work out. Something will happen, or I'll think of something when I get there. How many of us have always figured that out? We always say, we don't need to plan, we don't need to try and change. Just when we get there, we'll figure it out. My wife, Caitlin, said this the other day when we were talking, and it was so profound to me. I was like, man, how did God put this word on you? Wow, in Jesus' name. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, for giving me an amazing wife. But she said this quote, it was so profound. You can't prepare once you get there. You can't prepare once you get there. So now, how do you choose the right path? That question again. Here's the key. Are you ready for it? Prudent people know that it's not what they see that makes the difference, because they both see the same thing, right? Simple and prudent, but it's what they do. So they do things. They make course corrections. How do you make a course correction? You do something, like I just said. Come on. First question of the test. You gotta do something. You take action. You step off a path and get on another. This is almost always hard because we are creatures of habit. creatures of momentum. We naturally continue to do what we're used to doing. We all know what life is going to bring us in challenges, don't we? We know there's going to be challenges. For every upturn in the economy, there's a downturn. It's how it works. But prudent people plan for it. If you're married, some type of challenge will stretch and strain your relationship at some point. Prudent people know that, so they don't take their marriages for granted. They work on them in the good times so that they have more strength to weather the bad times. You see, we need to start taking action long before the crisis comes or disaster falls as we can. You keep telling yourself, I don't want to hit any more walls. I'm tired of running to a dead end. I'm tired of just every single thing in life hitting me. I'm challenging you. Let's not waste another minute on a path that leads somewhere you don't want to go. Let's take some time this week to reflect and redirect, to make some course corrections. It is our direction, not our intentions, that will determine our destination. The prudent see danger and they take refuge. They build a house of bricks to protect them from the challenges. They get off the wrong path and they get on the right path. They make course corrections. They don't just think about it or worry about it or just see it. They do it. Thank you for joining us this week. Share this lesson. Hey, I encourage you, share this lesson with someone that you know that isn't in one of our groups, that God has placed them on your heart for them to hear this message. But I can't wait to see you on Sunday for service. God bless.